We are a registered NPO and we teach kids life skills. Life skills is basically anything that they are not receiving at school. It's going to be your soft skills like mental health, decision making, how do you avoid peer pressure? It's going to be looking at gender norms. We teach financial literacy, we teach digital literacy, we teach all of the things. And we have, research proven that it works, that we have seen positive results. We work through a series of programs, so we offer quite a lot. But mainly we started out, why we called Camp Season Nanny is because we used to only host camps, residential camps where we would take kids away for 8 days or so. We'd take 150 teenagers from grade 8 to grade 12, and we'd teach them in a holistic environment where they would learn life skills through arts and craft, through theatre, through yoga, through swimming, through sports and adventure, everything coming from a relational model. We then realized that we needed to reach kids where in their context and for a long-term relationship to develop. And so we designed the Saturday clubs. So every Saturday we go to various of our 12 sites where we partner with NGOs, children's homes, schools, people like yourselves. And we make space for their kids to come, and it's sort of an interdependent relationship. We teach kids ages grade 1 to grade 12. And so we'll just have a Saturday morning with the kind of same environment that we have on camp, but just in a shorter time frame. We also have vocelis. This is a made-up word that we use for our camp facilitators. They are counselors, they are parents for a little bit, they are older siblings, they are just overall legends. So these are usually young people who want to work with kids, but may not yet be equipped to do so. And so we train our vocelis in-house, giving them all the equipment that they need to be able to empower the kids. This is important for us because we want people to speak into the context of the children. We don't want people who don't understand what these kids are going through. We want people who can speak the same language and understand their perspective. We also have a work readiness program with the vocelis so that they can get proper accreditation and all good things. And then last but definitely not least, we have our psychosocial support department. So this is a group of social workers, which is headed up by my colleague, who go into schools, into communities, into houses, and provide all of our campers with psychosocial support, whatever those needs are. So I see on the attendance register, we've got a lot of educators. We've got a lot of people who are working with NGOs and working with all of these organizations. But I would like first up to just say thank you. The work that we are all doing is possibly the hardest and the most messy and complicated job there is, but it's also the most important. We just want to say thank you to you all for coming, because you are still wanting to learn how to protect your kids, and that's beautiful. So just take a moment and just appreciate yourself and all the amazing hard work that all of you are doing. So thank you for that. And as we said, we want to connect. NGOs need to support one another. Right, on to burdens. Why did we choose this topic? Well, at Camp Season Nanny, we have been doing this a while. And I'm sure you guys know more than anything else that the most heartbreaking thing is looking at the burdens that these kids have. They are heavy with them. There are so many interconnected problems, right? They are complex and affected by systems and their environment, and my colleague is going to go into that a little bit more. But it's difficult and messy to try and pick them apart or even try to understand what these kids are going through. I heard it described like a washing machine, right? these issues that they have, they're like individual pieces of clothing. You put them in, the washing machine goes, and then the socks decide, I'm going to make a new home inside the duvet cover, you know, and it all comes out into this messy, complicated tangle of feelings that the kids don't know how to deal with. And I mean, all of us are burdened with these things and we struggle to unburden ourselves. So how can we equip kids with that power? In again, my colleague is going to go into this. I'm just a fundraiser. But in the social science world, burdens are known as adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. These are stressful or traumatic events that occur in childhood, so ages 0 to 17, that can have long-lasting negative effects on health, development, and overall functioning. So basically, bad stuff that happens to these kids, and there's no end to them, right? We see it in many, many contexts. You see the kids experiencing violence, abuse, or neglect, witnessing violence in their homes or communities, having a family member attempt suicide or die by suicide, parental divorce or separation, bullying, household mental illness. All of these things can affect a child in huge ways. It can literally change their brain chemistry going forward. And we've all seen the effects of these burdens, right? We have a kid who maybe is sitting at the back of the classroom trying to shut out all the noise. They isolate themselves at break time. You have a teenage girl who lashes out at seemingly nowhere. You have, you know, a group of kids who leave school only to go and smoke or drink right afterwards. These are all of the effects that these adverse childhood experiences have on a child. And we see it in different behaviors like difficulty regulating their emotions, engaging in really risky behavior, withdrawing themselves. You even see it physically because the body and the brain are so interconnected. You have a weakened immune system even, and you are at a greater risk of mental health problems going forward. The point is that these problems are horrible, they are very real, and you are probably familiar with most of them. Creating meaningful change is complicated. We've all seen that you have all of these different levels of issues, and it's very difficult to even know how to start. But thankfully, we have research on our side, which has proven that you can have multi-layered interventions that can help untangle some of these issues, right? Which is why we partner with communities. We try and partner with parents because there can never be enough people supporting a child. And that's why it's so important as well for NGOs to partner with each other so that we can create this little nest of love for a kid to be in. Some of these interventions include mentorship. That's something I'm sure a lot of you are doing without even knowing. You have holistic programs that are focused on families, communities. You develop a strong foundation for the future. You give them hope, give them options, and you empower your children by giving them agency. There are a lot of different strategies to reach children, and not every strategy is going to work on every child because every child is different. So, I would like to introduce you to an expert in the field, Ms. Ditlhare Mokhema, our head social worker who is literally bathed in light at the moment. She had to put a new wall in her house to hang up all of her diplomas. So I have them over here in case you think we're not experts in this field. And I'm going to hand over to her to sort of just, talk us through what unburdening a child looks like.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking your time to be part of this wonderful initiative. And to Zoe and your team over there, thank you for facilitating this process. When Claire pitched it to me, and I'm like, Saturday we just had a very hectic day. What is it, hectic?
It was.
It was very
That's how
hectic.
hectic it was.
And then I told myself that in honor of this week, it will be befitting that we present this session. And while I'm still on that point, I would like to say this is a Child Protection Month. And over the month, we have seen various cases of children that are burdened. Case in point being Jocelyn, that is still missing. I think it is 2 weeks back, there is a case at Boksburg of a 11-year-old child that is pregnant due to being raped by a family friend. We have girls that recorded themselves, like beating another 14-year-old. And then there was another boy, that was killed and dumped on the on the stairs of his home somewhere in Joburg. And then if it is possible, if we can just take 30 seconds just to observe a moment of silence for all the kids that are being affected, by these burdens. Some of them, sadly, they don't make it alive, and some of them they do make it alive, but they are scarred for life. So if we can just observe just a 30 seconds moment of silence for these children. Thank you so much for your consideration. And for the families that have lost their loved ones, I wish them strength and healing, and may the soul of their departed rest in God's eternal peace. And for those kids that are still missing, we are hoping for their safe return. And then for those that came out and they are scarred, I wish that they can get, like a very holistic and sustainable intervention. And I'm so glad that we are here as professionals, and hopefully those kids, they will land on our doorsteps. Okay. Coming into what I've been tasked to do, and thank you so much, Claire, for that wonderful introduction. And in essence, you've covered my first point. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
As they say, like minds, we think alike, right? And then the question is, how do we unburden our children? And it is very true that our children are faced with multiple complex and psychosocial issues. And Claire touched on some few of them. We've got professionals in the house, people that have been in this field for quite some time. We've got novices, we are here to learn from one another. If we can just like share with us, like we normally say when we have workshops that pop when you're hot, like some of the psychosocial issues or some of the challenges that at your organization or at your school, you might have picked up that maybe Claire did not touch on. And remember, guys, we are here to learn from one another. Don't double guess yourself. Anything goes. It might not be an issue for me, but for you, it might be an issue. All right, we have only 30 seconds. Let's hear what you have to say. Please school us on some of the challenges that you have experienced in your communities, in your organizations, I mentioned communities, organizations, in your schools, or any space where you are engaging with children.
Okay, I'm not going to put my camera on, but my name is Devashni. I work for an organization called Vele, and we do our work online. And I think we literally do coaching and tutoring online. And one of the things that really bugs me or really bothers me is when I coach a student and they say, for an example, I coach a student in English or history, and then I find out that there is no history teacher in that school. Or, and, they're like, no, the history teacher hasn't been here for a year. And then I'm like, where do you start? What do you do? Because I'm the coach, I'm not the teacher. And then you have to go down to the basics. Where do you start when someone says, I don't have a history teacher at school, My principal said she was sick and she hasn't come back. So that's one of the many things that bothers me. It goes across subjects, maths, physics. Like, where do you start? And then I get so overwhelmed because where do I start? Because I'm not a teacher, I'm just the coach. So, yeah.
Got you. Thank you so much. That was very good, Devashni. And you're talking about lack of resources. And then I see that Zuko's hand is up. Welcome, Zuko.
Thank you very much for the welcome. I don't know if you would wish to have my camera on,
No need.
but some of the challenges that I've encountered when working with some of the children who have experienced some traumas in their lives is that sometimes their situations also invoke feelings within ourselves or traumas that we didn't even realize that we had ourselves. And a challenge that I've encountered is sometimes you don't even know how to deal with the trauma yourself, which leaves you handicapped in a position whereby you don't even know how you can go about assisting the child in that situation. So that is a big burden that I've encountered in the field that we are working in currently. Thank you.
Zuko, I've got a feeling that you went through my notes.
He read the presentation.
You went through my notes. Thank you so much, Zuko. Tapelo will be our last one.
Hi, good day. Hi.
Hi, Tapelo.
Can-
Yes, welcome.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Tapelo.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to share. I'm from Matopili. So the thing that I wanted to share is the psychosocial challenge in our communities. So as part of today's important session is how to unburden a child. We would like to briefly share some of the psychosocial and the community level challenge that our organization, which is Matopili, frequently inquire. We are based in Northern Cape. Unaddressed trauma in children and youth.
Yes.
So many children have experienced or witnessed violence, abuse, or negligence without a proper psychosocial support. They carry silent burden that affect their behavior, relationship, and learning. So the other one is stigma discrimination. So children living with often affected by TB or HIV and disability, or from maybe LGBTI families face high level of exclusion, bullying, and discrimination in schools and communities, which increase in their vulnerabilities. So the other one, I think I've got only the lack of space, safe space. There are limited safe space, supported and structured environments for children to express themselves, share their experience or seek, especially in rural or unserved areas. And then the other one is going to be the unburdened caregivers and educators. So caregivers and teachers are often dealing with their own trauma, stress, and burnout of limited ability to support children effectively. That include ASP staff who need more support in trauma informed case. And the other one I think is the substance abuse and domestic violence. Household instability caused by alcohol and drug abuse or exposure to domestic violence has significantly psychological impact on children, affecting their ability to learn and thrive. Thank you so much.
That's very comprehensive. Okay, all right. Tapelo, thank you so much. It is actually very, very comprehensive in terms of, like some of the multiple and complex layered psychosocial challenges or issues that are burdening our children. And I love the fact that you talked, Devashni talked about the school. Somebody, Uzuko talked about unattended or unaddressed trauma. You touched on the issue of substance abuse, safe spaces they cannot play. You touched on discrimination, and this psychosocial issues that you're touching on, they actually affect children's level of functioning, their growth and development, more than anything, how they interact with the environment, whether with themselves, whether with other people, as well as the natural and the physical environment. And with the natural environment, I'm referring to the land, the air, the water, the plants, and the animal. And also it comes to the issues of physical environment. Devashni touched on the schools, access to healthcare facilities, libraries, recreational facilities, which links to what Tapelo just said, like access or not in access to legal systems, law enforcement. We touched on the one that is not mostly talked about is children that are facing homelessness, like access to housing. So infrastructure, we're also talking about access to electricity, access, like to roads. So these are some of the factors that burden our children. And we need to be very cognizant that the level of functioning actually also affect, like, no, let me just backtrack, that everyone, more than children in particular, they deserve to live in a clean, healthy, safe environment, which is actually important for their holistic and sustainable development. And hence I'm saying that, like all these complexities, they have a significant impact on children's level of functioning and their quality of life. Like she's virtually Claire. She said that I am a qualified social worker. So, as a social worker, there's no way we can provide workshop or training without touching on few of the theories that we use. And I'm not going to be long. I'm just going to touch here and there. I will start first on the personal and environment. And I love the fact that we've already touched on the significance on the environment. And then with the person in environment, it touches on how the individual's behavior, actions, thoughts, feeling, attitude, and knowledge, are influenced by their environment. And now this theory takes it a little bit further, like the kind of environment that in which the children are operating on. They include the social, the cultural, the economy, the physical, we touched on each, the political, the technology, as well as religious. And more than anything, technology has been it is the one space that is not so regulated and that is significantly affecting our children's level of functioning. Case in point, that the example that I made of the girls that were like recorded themselves intentionally beating the other one. And the other excuse me, the other theory that I would like to touch on is the ecological perspective, which is about the interaction between individuals and the environment and how the relationship affects their development over time. We're talking about the interdependency and the interactionness. I'm not so sure about our level of experience here, but somebody said we've got teachers, we've got stakeholders from different NGOs. I'm sure you might have come across this theory as you engage with the children. So I'm going to give it to you because now it's going to be like nigga kind of a situation. We are now practicing ecological perspective. It talks about interaction. So maybe you can just tell me some of the systems, the ecological systems that within your organizations you are applying. I know but I trust you. I've got faith in you. We've got microsystems, just to give you a clue. Going once, going twice. let's do this. All right. I believe in each one teaching one. So I'm gonna give to you the examples of microsystems. And if there's something that you feel that I did not cover, you can say, hey, Ditlhare, I think you missed that one. I'm also a student of life. So with ecological system, it has ecological perspective, it has 5 systems whereby the children operates in. The microsystem, which is the child, which is the friends, families, the school, the healthcare, the religious space, and maybe sometimes they can even have the soccer team. They can have the extramural activities that they participate in. And then we also have the mesosystem. With the mesosystem, it is the interaction between the microsystems. For example, friends and family. We do know that, but when they are teenagers, they have this strained relationship between their family. So that's why they say it's a stormy phase. And then we have the family and the school. How involved are the parents at the school system? And then the other one, it is the policies, the educational policies, as well as educational and healthcare policies, and how they intersect with religion. For example, the religion will say, spare the rod and spoil the child. I hope I got it right. And then, but it becomes a problem at school whereby there's no corporal punishment. We have policies on termination of pregnancy, and then the religion would say no, 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 no. But then the healthcare policies say everyone has a right to terminate pregnancy. So this one, it also causes like ambivalence, especially to children, because like they don't know which one to subscribe to. We also have an ecosystem, which is now the multimedia. We have the parents, the multimedia, including the social media, the parents' workplace, because it has significant impact on the children level of functioning, that parents leave 5 o'clock in the morning, they come back 10 o'clock at night, they don't get to have like interaction with the children. The other people that are very important in the children's level of functionings are their parents. They are parents' friends. Because like with the case of the child in Boksburg, this child was actually assaulted by a family friend. So this ecosystem, like it touches on who are these people that are in the children's life. And then we have the macro system. Now we're talking about attitudes, we're talking about ideologies, talking about the economic system, we're talking about cultural and religious practices, we're talking about politics, we're talking about the legal system. How do they help the child? Chronos system, which is the environmental changes that occur during the course of the children's life. And with these chronos systems, like it is a lot. It is basically where all these burdens are coming in now. This is where we see them. Children, when they come to us, when they go to your organization, the first thing is always grieving loss. They're not only grieving the loss of a loved ones, but they're also grieving their pets that died. The loss of what is it? Maybe it's a family that used to be well off, it had money, but then all of a sudden everything goes south. Now the family can no longer provide what it used to provide. Mama is now losing a car, we are now losing a house, we're gonna become homeless. Now we have to move from Sentin, we have to go and stay in a community where like we're not used to. So the downgrade, it actually has a significant impact on the child. And some of this, they are actually very, very sudden. They don't give a child or children an opportunity, like for us adults, like we can just like adapt just like that. But for the children, it takes some time. They need someone to talk to, but you all know that our resources are very strained. We cannot see and talk to the children, especially when they need us most. All right. So that is that is the theories that I needed to touch with you. And in everything that is happening here, that the children are at the center. of everything. And in an ideal world, like the systems, they work, like parallel, they complement each other. But in a real world, we know that it is not like that. Like I said, the relationship is very complex, maladaptive, and they compromise children's sense of safety and sense of well-being. This was my first part of the presentation. I would just like to hear if maybe there's someone that might have like a view, somebody that would like to ask a question or even make a comment about what I touched on. I touched on the systems where the children are operating and the different environments they find themselves in. All right.
Sorry, I didn't pick up my hand. I'm trying to look computers. My name is Madoda.
What?
Hi, I'm from Hopes for Hope. I'm an organization from Cape Town, and in Zimbabwe. It's originated in America. The founder comes from America. So, in my kind of engagement would be, it's on the positive side where you spoke about the engagement where the kids the engagement at schools, after school programs. And so we are actually doing the positive part where kids come to us with these problems, where a kid, as I was saying now to my colleagues, that where a kid gets stressed, they say, no, a kid can't get stressed. And then I say an argument that if a kid this year started the school or 2 years back started every year with a new uniform, new school shoes, and has lunches, he's got money being given by parents, then in 2026 the parent loses his job or her job. Now the kid doesn't understand why now they're not being bought new shoes. That kid gets to be stressed and doesn't want to go to school because already build a way of, I'm living this lifestyle. Whereas there's this other kid who already knows that a parent doesn't have anything. It just comes as if he's getting something that's great for him. He's always happy for it. If he doesn't get it, that's normal to him. So the stresses are totally different. Whereas a kid also can get a stress, we also get a stress. But when we meet with them after school program as an organization, we come there and make sure that everyone gets to be at the same level, especially when we have to we sit on a circle, so that a circle we all are equal, there's no beginning or end. So we make sure that we make ground rules that every answer which has been given is great, no answer is bad, so everyone gets to be included in all we do. So we do, yes, get a little bit of the bad side of the social support system, but we really working on making sure that also their mental health state is very well taken care of. We know what are their problems, so we check in with them and also check out with them how they are doing, because kids have various problems from the morning to school until they finish school, and then when they get to us for an hour and a half, and then we go there and shout them, and then they lose out. They don't want to engage anymore. But we have to make sure that 1.5 hour we spend with them is the most powerful and most, recognizing them, that they matter more. Giving high fives is one of the most important things to give your child. So yeah, we're on the positive side on our side.
Can I give you a high five there?
Yeah, amen.
Amen. I can even You know what I have seen, Madoda, is that there's this, what is it, adage that says children should not be heard. No, children cannot see or something
Must
like
be
that.
seen and not heard.
You are seeing them and you are listening to them.
It's beautiful.
And that is all they need. Knowing that there is someone that I can go to, that I can talk to, that I can open up to. You've already won the battle of empowering the children to trust the system, to know that I'm not going to be judging you, I'm not going to be condemning you. So thank you so much for being the bridge, and also for being a springboard for them, and helping them to develop a sense of resilience. Thank you so much. You're doing such a fantastic job. Kabonina, I see your hand is raised.
Hi, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Good morning, everyone. So from my end, it's more of a question. So we have a music program that we are in partnership with schools, community centers, and now we've veered a little bit more into the special needs schools and the special needs space. So our program is a music program. So we teach educators to teach the children members, and we just kind of monitor and help them. So we're a third person in this whole system. We are like last on the list, you know? But because of the nature of the program, it builds a lot of trust and quite a close relationship with all of our kids. And so sometimes they'll come with a challenge that is beyond us. And we find ourselves, so myself and my team, we find ourselves a bit at a loss of how do we navigate such a big issue. Like, for example, if it's like bullying, I'm going to use something that we face, we see it ourselves and all of that, but like an intense kind. So normally it's ourselves and the educators in the classroom, and a lot of the time it's not even the child's actual educator. They just one of the teachers that love the program, so they don't even know the child on that level. So I think my question is, how do us as third party / after school program practitioners, how do we communicate that message to the relevant elders in an educational environment?
Kabonina, what a fantastic question. Not to say others may not, but this is it's very like to the core of what we're talking about. I normally say when we have trainings that like children are at the center, and we like pizza, like it's the pizza, and then it's like a center, it is like a center. Children are there. Let me tell you, you are not third on the list. You are where everyone is at. You are where the schools is at. You are where the church is at. You are where the parents are at. Because remember when we spoke about ecological perspective, we said children are at the center. All right, you giving them what somebody might have missed. So what I heard from you is that, listen, what do we do? It's about collaboration. Madora, you are noted, and then I'll come back to you. I just want to address this one, Kabonina. This is what we do as Kemsizanani, because we are aware that we cannot be everywhere. We cannot be addressing all the challenges of the children that are burdened with. So we have decided to collaborate with government department. We've got good relationship with SAPS, Department of Health, Department of Home Affairs, DSD, Department of Basic Education. We work with other NGOs in the communities. Yeah. All right. We work with institutions of higher learning. Remember, I said I provide training and supervision for social work students that are providing school social work in 3 schools within our communities. Over and above that, this institute like your VES, your UJ, your Sfakumahatu, these are the universities that will say, that I will go to them and I'm like, we have a health and wellness drive. And then they bring their students, they bring their resources, and they provide free healthcare. We have children's centers, we have children's homes that are part of our collaborators. They are part, we call them like partner organizations, in an instance whereby I think it was KYP clicked on with program. The social worker came to me and she's like, but how do you do it? You're only with these kids for 4 days, but when they go back, like you've got so many cases. And then I'm like, it's not about who's there the longest. It's not about the time that you take with the children. It is about what we do. And as camp citizens, we can't say, oh no, we are the greatest. We take them to camp and then they open up. It's like, no. We just feed you. The children are giving us this. And then what do we say? Because I'm the only social worker here. And in a year, how many kids do we have? We have close to 1,000 children. It's like plenty of...
Reaching 2,000.
Yeah, close to 2,000. So we rely on those collaborations. The most important collaborations that we might have neglected is the buying in of the parents. Our parents complained that their children are too empowered. They're using the big words that the parents themselves do not understand. And then they were not happy with camps, and here we are, we say, yeah, we empowering children. But when we called in their parents, we realized that we actually creating an injustice to the parents or the caregivers. And then we said, you know what, we're gonna be collaborating. And listen, they've got my numbers, now they call. Oh no, they were talking about Yelp, they were talking about this. So what we're doing is that based on these collaborations, you know, we have bridged that communication gap. So the parents do now understand. They come to our meetings. They even say to me, I don't attend school meetings, but when it is Zanani, I go, because we talk into the issues that affects them. I was just telling Claire last week when we were preparing that one parent came to me after, you know, like we were telling them about our anti-bullying pledge, and she was crying because she just realized that she has been bullying her child, and her child will go to our clubs, will go to our camp and start bullying others. But ever since now, you know, like she came to our meeting, she attended our session, the parent is like, now I know better. So collaboration is actually very, very important. And I hope I was able to answer your questions. Madoda, a quick one. Thank you so much, Kabonina. All right, Madoda will join in a little bit later. So, you know, like as Camps Zanani and other organizations that are here, we form part of children's macrosystem, because that is the only way we can start to gain their trust. To make them feel that they are seen, they are heard. And as Camps Zanani, you know, we had to re-strategize. So as you know, that as organizations evolve with time, and then we said, you know, like we have like key strategic points that we can implement to have like a sustainable plan on how to unburden the children. And I'm briefly going to touch on them. Issues of compliance. You really need key team members that are knowledgeable on the subject. All right, hence I'm referring to the collaborations. We've got social workers, we've got student social workers, we've got social auxiliary workers, and those we call them key team players in psychosocial support. They must be registered with our council, and they must attend continuous training and development. With our vocelis and everyone that is working at Camps Zanani, it is compulsory that they must complete and submit Form 30 and Form 29 DSD, so that we know that our children are safe and they are suitable. We know that these people that are working with our children, you know, they are safe and they are suitable. And then the third one is programming. I hear Zoe, I think Zoe said she's a programs manager.
Yeah.
Zoe, now I'm talking to you and other programs coordinators there, that when it comes to Camps Zanani, we realize that our programming must be intentional. All right, so they are at club. We have monitoring and evaluation officers that after every camp, you know, we sit down and then we have the surveys, and then we listen to what the kids have to say. And then based on the feedback that we got from camp or from club, we go back to our drawing board, and then we like, these are the points, these are the salient points that the children raised. So we listen to them, their voices, their opinion, they matter. And then they help us to improve on the quality of the program. Some of the program we had to let them go because they were not benefiting the children. We had introduced other programs because the children were saying, this is what we want. Okay, and then these programs that we have, they are in line with the policies, whether it is local, national, and international policies and legislation. We're using guiding document, your sustainable development goals. We're using Agenda 2063. And then when you come home, we're looking at the Constitution, the Children's Act, the Schools Act, the healthcare policies, in particular, the National Adolescent and Youth Health Policy. I was just sharing with Claire that on Saturday we had a health and wellness drive, and then there was just like a misunderstanding in terms of, you know, some nurses were saying they cannot provide a flu injection or a flu jab to the few kids that were there, and they did not have consent from the parents. And then you quickly had a multidisciplinary meeting, and then, you know, I was listening to them. They're coming from the health department, and then I said, according to Children's Act, and they're like, whoa, okay, all right, we've heard you. And I'm like, if the child is 12 and above, they can consent. And then they're like, okay, let the children get the injection. But what we do, remember the buying in of the parents. I called the parents, and the parents is like, oh no, the child did brought the form. I forgot to complete it, but I trust you as a social worker. Please allow my child to get the flu vaccination because I do not have the money to take them to the, I do not have money to take them to the pharmacy or to take them, or the time to take them to the clinic. That is why I'm saying it is very important that we collaborate. And as we collaborate, we also understand what we are about. All right. I can't just say, go to the nurses and say, no, give the child the vaccination without backing myself. I know this is what the Constitution is saying. This is what the Children's Act is saying. And the other acts that we focus on is Child Justice Act as well as Criminal Procedural Act. So our programs are designed in such a way that they cover a child like holistically. And maybe you're sitting there and it's like, oh no, Ditlhare, you forgot the one for promotion of, like unfairness and non-discriminatory. Just drop it on our, drop it in our chat and say, these are the acts that we are also like using for the children. And then the other thing about our program is that it is humane. Whatever that we do, whether it is me as a social worker, whether it is clear fundraising, whether it is monitoring and evaluation, whether it is our bochelis, they must be sensitive. It must be inclusive, it must be non-discriminatory. And I think it was somebody touched on it. No, it was not Madoda. It was, I forgot. But it talked about discrimination of children. Discrimination of children based on their sexuality, based on their disability. So our program is designed in such a way that they are very much inclusive and they uphold the rights and dignity of the children. Okay, and then Claire has already touched on it about our vochelis. As KMSizanani, we believe in continuously training our staff members, even ourselves, like we cannot sit and say like, oh no, I'm a social worker, I'm confident, I know what I'm doing. There's so many amendments to the act. There's so many things that are happening around us that we have to be cognizant of. I attend a 1 hour training. I just made a point that I subscribe to as many platforms as I can, because everywhere I go, I learn something that I didn't know. Even from this platform, I've already learned 1 or 2 things. And I also hope that you will also learn something from me. So what happens with our training is that no camp happens without a detailed 3 days, we call it Bocheli training. So we have 3 camps in a year. So it means that we have a very detailed training for people that will be facilitating their life skills at camp. We have 2 trainings in a year. Those are compulsory: media training as well as beginning of the year training. That is when we outline, we share with our vochelis, they share with us that as KMSizanani, this is where we are, this is where we want to go. And then as life skills facilitators, they would say, this is where we are, this is where we go, this is where we think we can make a difference.
And just to add on that, Watch, so that's kind of where I think Kabonina mentioned that, you're the 3rd member, you're the 3rd on the list.
Yes.
But I mean, we would be in the same role there, but it's all about interconnectedness, like learning because the vochelis are on the ground. They know what the kids want. We can't be everywhere at once. So it is about those lines of communication.
I like that. That's actually very smart, Claire. I like you, Claire. All right. And then, like when KMSizanani started, we were driven by passion. Like we know there's Ditlhare in the community. She's excellent with the children. But things have developed, systems have changed. Even as an organization, we had to change. And sometimes change is not nice. We had to let go of some of our vochelis because they did not meet our requirements. They did not have metric. So as KMSizanani, we do require minimum, it should be metric. All right. Ever since we said matric, now people are coming like, no, I'm studying towards my diploma. I'm gonna become a lawyer. We like that. No, I'm busy with my certificates. It's like, asking them to improve and to study further has helped them to be better people, like to develop themselves. And then the other thing that the quality of our votel is that their values must align to the values of Camp Sizanani. I remember we once had a life skills Bocelli, and then was promoting corporal punishment. And then I said, not under my watch. We don't know where these children are coming from. We don't know the circumstances. We don't know the abuse that they are subjected to. And then it's like, so how do you punish them? And I'm like, don't punish children. We're here to grow, to learn, to play, to develop, and along the way, there will be some mistakes. How do we pick one another up without making the other person feel bad? And then the Bocelli still did not have a problem. He felt that the children have to be beaten, and we had to let him go because our values are not aligned, because the Constitution and the Children's Act is very clear. The Schools Act is very clear on this one, because he was coming from another premises, quoting this one, quoting that one, and we this is our value. We had a camper that came with her child to camp, and then she wanted to breastfeed, and then the Bocelli had a problem. And then I said, our code of conduct says we cannot discriminate a child because of these circumstances. And I'm like, she's a mother, the child is hungry, she must feed the child. It's like, no, but at least she must go and breastfeed the child somewhere else. And I'm like, where? We don't have a space. And it's like, maybe in the bathroom. And I'm like, I asked her, would you eat in the bathroom? And I'm like, if it is not harming anyone, let it be done. So it is important that, as facilitators, as organizers, as social workers, as instructors, as coaches, as mentors, we ensure that the people that are in our space, their values, their visions, and their missions are in line with what we do. Because if they are not in line, they're going to be sharing with kids things that as organization we don't want to expose our children to. All right. And continuing with the training that we provide, I remember at one of our camps, we had we are now introducing our Bocellis to use the legal system. I'm not gonna lie, the legal documents, it was not a very easy session because our Bocellis did not understand where we are coming from. And then I had to break it down to them that there's no way you can go into a community, you can go into schools, you can do the house visit, like Bocelli Claire said that I do house visit, and you don't know which legal systems are covering you. And then I had to explain to them. So the other thing that helps with unburdening the children is to be patient. We shouldn't rush so that we can, chase the numbers. I was very patient and I explained to them, what are the challenges that you're experiencing in your communities? And then they were like, yeah. Children do not have birth certificate. And I'm like, there is a constitution, there is a Children's Act. Now you have a responsibility to do a research on why is not having a birth certificate or ID a problem. Listen, did they not flourish? And now they were coming to me, it's like, yeah, Bocelli, you must help those children. Now they feel so empowered because they see that before I go to that, I ask them that, how is it affecting the children when they do not have the birth certificate? And then they were saying, no, it's not a nice feeling. The child can go to school. They were even quoting what United Nations is saying. United Nations is saying the children must go to school. But the policy is saying for you to, you can be at school, but for you to participate in athletics, you need a birth certificate. And they're like, okay, so it means that the child is missing out on other resources or other services that can help them to express their frustration, to express to distress, to unburden themselves. And then they even saying that in the future, this child might not even get a chance to be employed. They were, you know, it was such a riveting session. It was supposed to be an hour. We ended up, you know, like talking about it for 2 hours because there were so many examples that, no, remember there was a guy that threatened to shoot people at Home Affairs because of this. And I'm like, now do you see why is it important for you to understand the legal documents that we're using? So the other thing is like now they were able to link it with the family, and they say like, you understand that if a child does not have a birth certificate, it means that the mother does not have a birth certificate. And the other one was like even the grandmother. So we have a household that does not receive child support grant. And now they have to go like, and this is what the SASSA policy is saying. So it is actually very, very important that as organizations, we train our facilitators, our coaches, our mentor in terms of what the Constitution is saying, what the Children's Act is saying, and many other acts that are affecting our children.
Yeah, and just
Right.
to add on that,
Yes.
just also educating the kids about that. I know you're going to go into that.
Yes.
But
yes,
like
yes.
letting kids knowing their rights and their responsibilities to
Yes.
protect our facilitators as well. Yeah.
I like it because there's a session on rights and responsibility, especially from the month of June, because it is the youth month. So our programming, so unburdening the children goes back to programs, your lesson plan must be intentional. They must touch on the topical issues that the children are facing. We can't just bury our heads in sand. And I'm just going to make an example and say, oh, no, we're just providing soup kitchen. No, you're not only providing soup, you're providing much more, because the children, they keep coming. Sometimes they don't even come for food, but they come for the warmth. They know that when I'm here, nobody's gonna harm me. All right. And then can I just like, if we can just, I'm gonna put a pause here and just get your views about what we touched on in terms of programming, and also some of the acts that we are using, or some of the instruments that you are using in your organization. And I'm sure that you have been using these things. It's just that you were not aware that you are in the process of unburdening the children. Yes. All right. Remember, guys, we are learning from one another. I gave you, please give back.
Question from MCC asking what would be effective ways in bridging the gap between the mother and child support, and also stakeholders that are in support and empowering the child development?
Thank you so much. That's a very good question. Last week I was doing a house visit. Zianda noted. And then when I got there, the mother was already heightened. The mother was already here because the social worker is
Very
coming
defensive.
very, very defensive. And then when I introduced myself, I explained my role. For us to be able to bridge the gap is to understand our roles and to understand the premises and the framework that are guiding us, or where we're working from. The first thing that I said is like, I'm not here to judge you. And she was like, okay. And I'm like, I'm not here to criticize your parenting skills, but I'm here for us to talk. And I promise you that whatever it is between the four of us, we can come up with something. I had to explain that the role of a social worker is to bridge the gap between the parents and the children. Because there's a misconception that we believe the children. The mother even said, it's like, I know you believe the child. And I'm like, I don't believe them. And I'm like, we are here to enrich your relationship with the child. In fact, the children, they were like 2 boys. And then what was supposed to be like 30 minutes in and out, after 1 hour, 30 minutes, and I'm like, now I have to go. Because now she has so much to say. And then you know, but the circumstances at that house are very difficult, very, very difficult. A single mother, unemployed, children don't have documents, there's no food. And the mother has been threatened that they're going to be taking her children. And I had to come and say, no one's going to take your children. This is what the act says. And the mother was not aware that it's like a process for children to be removed. But when you get into the shed, it is clean. You know, the children's clothes are packed in boxes. And I'm like, this is the structure. Can I tell you that on Saturday, I saw the mother on Wednesday. On Saturday, the mother came and asked, can my child be part of your group? Because now I understand. She was under the impression that we are, as Kemsizanani, we are teaching children to disrespect, you know, like their parents, or just to be otherwise. And I'm like, no, we are not like that. The mother came, the child stayed, and then they will be joining us. So what is important is that let us understand our role. When you have an opportunity to enter the system in such a way that you create like a cushion. You become like a buffer, you like a balm, is it an ointment, and a soothing ointment, even when you are gone. Because when I left, I asked the student social worker to speak with the child, and then the feedback that I got, the child was speaking, and the mother said like, he doesn't even talk, and then I'm like, but Luana told me, you know, using the language. But the other thing is the language that we are using when we talk to the people. Yeah, I'm wrapping this one, is that it is important that we invest in ourselves when it comes to different languages, that when you enter the families, you are able to speak their language, or at least you have an understanding. I've got a cheeky Sotho tongue, very, I cannot speak Zulu. I'm struggling with Xhosa, Shangaan, and Chivenda, even worse. But when I go inside, I tell them that this is my disability. And they're like, don't worry, we've got you. And in that way, they can see that, you know what, this person is here for us. I hope I was able to answer MCC question. I see Tapelo. Yeah, I think it was Tapelo that was talking about discrimination. Yes, Tapelo?
Yeah, it was me. I also wanted to share some of the other things in terms of the programming. One of the other things that I also wanted to is like the direct interaction of children. So what we do is a healing cycle, like telling the safe stories, space by a trained facilitator. We also provide, remember, there's also poverty and all those things. So those dignity, pet, and nutrition support that to meet the needs that affect the learning and emotional regulation. So we also do the one-on-one counseling support trained by our counselors that have done the trauma counseling. And also, in fact, working with partners is very important, like doing your referral partnership, your DSD, your education, you know, yeah. We also do the positive peer leadership club that foster empathy, kindness, and self-expression. So we also focusing on the what is this being the microsystem programming, where we focus on strengthening the relationship between the key people around the child, your caregivers, your teachers, etc., the staff also.
Beautiful.
Your parent support and dialogue sessions that train the caregivers in child development.
Tapelo, if I hear
Come
you
again?
correctly, I'm saying, if I hear you correctly, sorry to interject there, you're already
Yes,
operating in the ecological perspective.
yes.
You have incorporated ecological perspective. Wonderful. Can we give Zianda Kaso a chance? Thank you so much for your input, Tapelo.
Okay then, sure.
Thank you. Zianda, your hand has been up.
Okay, hi, thank you so much. I was trying to find the mic to unmute myself. Yeah, my name is Yana Twasoni. I come from a small community-based organization called Chigawa Ubuntu. We are in East London, and we are using the socio-ecological model to implement our programs. We work at a micro, macro, and as well exo level. In that, we also work holistically with the families through household visits, and we also run an after-school program where we deal with about 190 kids on a daily basis. Now, some of the issues that you raised, especially regarding the importance of training, understanding your roles, and as well how you approach and deal with the parents when it comes to communicating, because a lot of parents, are very, they're very, what's the word, defensive, when it comes
Yes,
to
they are. They are. Yes, they are.
children's rights and children's issues, especially if you're going to be talking about, parental programs, because so you have to tread quite lightly there. And for us, community-based organizations who receive year-on-year funding, you have to also be quite strict when it comes to performance. Because when you have employees and you have 1-year contracts, you have to be quite strict to ensure that there is compliance, number one, with the Act, because you're a child protection and safeguarding organization, ensuring that there's continuity and that people know and understand their roles and the implications of the Act, and so on. So that can lead to a high staff turnover, because we also try and prioritize employing people from the community so that we've got that linkage and bond. But unfortunately, sometimes the communities in which we work, they don't have, a good enough pool of candidates for you to be able to do the work that you need effectively. So my question is, how do you manage that staff turnover and the impact that it has on the children now? Apart from, because that's sort of the natural sort of order of things sometimes within an organization, but then it does have an impact on the kids when they're seeing that there are individuals, that are coming and going due to one reason or another. Thank you.
Excellent question, because that is one of the things that we struggled with. We struggled with as Kems Zanani, that like this year it is Ditlhare, next year Ditlhare is no longer there, until we collaborated with the parents. All right. When we collaborate with the parents, we tell them that this is what Kems Zanani is doing, and the parents will be saying, I've got my child was studying at UJ, but my child is unemployed. Oh, you've got a graduate. And then we'll tell the parents and say, like, listen, ma'am, towards the end of the year, we're recruiting. And then like that's how we got like children within the communities. And then the other, or the youth that are now our life skills facilitators, that's how we got them. We got them through the parents meeting, the parents coming through, and then we're sharing our vision with them. And then the other thing that we do is that even when we attend the parents meeting, when we attend stakeholder meetings, we make it known that we are here to empower not only children, but also the youth. And then we tell them that this is the criteria. In an instance whereby the community does not have, we don't mind to recruit from other communities that we are serving, so that, the people in the community don't feel that, how can you bring outsiders? It happened actually at Orange Farm. Orange Farm were asking because they've never seen their young people, like serving. And then they're like, what is your recruitment criteria? And then we explained. And then they're like, we want to see how many youth from Orange Farm do you have? And we're like, this is the number. And then they were very satisfied. And then the other thing is that as much as it helps to have facilitators from the community, it is also nice to have facilitators from different areas, because they bring in something that might not be available in your community. So I would advise or give an opinion that, you know what, let's start having conversations with our stakeholders, let's start having conversations with our parents. And because unemployment is very rife in our communities, they will be more than happy if they can know that they can come and volunteer. And we explain to them, you know, like the processes and systems that governs our volunteering. Boniface, you are the last one on this one. Welcome. Molifi.
Yes, am I audible?
Hi, Boniface.
Am I
Yes,
audible?
welcome.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask quickly, what are maybe the tactics or tools that we can use to approach parents as we were busy talking about collaborating with parents?
What is it?
What tools can you use to approach parents and
Tools, yeah.
collaboration?
You know what? Now you're talking my language. When you're talking to parents, now you're talking to me. Because if we don't have the buying in of the parents, your program is going nowhere. All right. I'm gonna share with you what I said.
Okay.
The manner in which we engage with them. We don't go to them as professionals. At the back of our mind, we are professionals. Whatever that I say or do, it is founded in social work. All right? But when I'm sitting in front of Umama, I'm a human being. That's where it starts. Before, if you want people to respect you, put away your titles. All right? Be a human being. Understand, ask questions, not in a way that you are there to undermine them, to judge them, but tell them that I am here to enrich your relationship. And be honest with your intention. Don't say, yeah, there's food parcel there. No, I'm gonna get you this. No. When I go there, I tell them that as Kemsanan at the moment, we don't have money, but I've got someone at Batopele, I've got Zianda in Eastern Cape, I've got Whoops for Hope. You know, I will just like connect with my friends, and this is what we can do. But
Okay,
I will, and then you know what we do in social work, and I'm sure social workers in the house will agree. We focus on what we call perspective. What does the mother know? Okay, when where I work, you know, there's plenty of shacks, and then when I enter, it's like, but you've got a big yard, hey? You know, have you ever thought of, you know, like having like a small patch of garden? And it's like, but even if I can have a small patch of garden, I don't have seeds. Hence, it is important that we continuously develop ourselves. And I'm like, why do you need seeds to plant potatoes? Why do you need seeds to plant tomato? So we talk to them in such a way that we're not there to judge, but we're here to empower, to learn from one another, to identify the strength that they didn't even know that they have. And then we invite them. We invite them to our clubs. Sadly, at camp, we can't invite them. But at club, they came on Saturday, and she's like, I like what you're doing here. You do this every day. And I'm like, not every day, show me. But we do it once a year. Then you explain to them, you know, what is it that you want to achieve? And more than anything, be patient with them. They're already stressed. There's so many things that they're dealing with. They don't want someone that's going to be very dismissive. All right. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, you did answer me fully. So I understand the aim is to create a relationship between us and the parents. I'm saying the aim is to create a relationship between us and the parents.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Those are the people. And let me tell you something in conclusion, when if you right, those are the people that will protect you in the community.
Yes.
Those are the people that they will be calling Slack. Don't come this Saturday, we've got a toy. There's a, you know, those are the people that would say, when we have events, we don't have water. We go to them, we're like, hey, there's no water at the school. And then they bringing us stuff. Those are the people that we go into camp, but we don't have cleaning material. That is clear
Okay,
department.
yes.
And then they're like,
Okay.
I don't have cleaning material, but I've got pencils. Can I give you this?
Yes, understood.
So our relationship goes beyond, you know, like our clubs. Yeah.
I understand that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mantate Malifi. All right. And now I'm still touching on the issue of training, because it is very important that we empower the people that are working with our children. They know their roles, they know their duties, and they also understand where they are within the structure of the organization. So at camp, remember when I started, I said we don't have camp until we have this training. And then at training, we work on them, we work with them, you know, because we understand that some of this, our life skills facilitators, they were once young children that experienced all the psychosocial issues that we talked about. And sadly for them, they never had an opportunity to address them, or those traumas they were never attended to. And now you're taking them to camp, you're taking them to clubs, you're bringing children that are wounded, and now they're going to be sharing their stories with the Bocellis, and now, you know, like the Bocelli's going to feel triggered. So we do have programs that are targeting our Bocellis. The first one is the River of Life, which is directed which is conducted by our director. We have reflective sessions, you know, like we're trying to create that safe space for them. They know that, you know what, they can break down, they can cry, and for some of them, and now I'm talking about the life skill facilitators, when they are at these trainings, it is for the first time they come face to face with their traumas. So we're trying to create that atmosphere, empowering them with constructive and positive coping mechanisms like journaling, go hiking, and I think it was somebody, Kabonina was talking about the music program. We swing, we sing, we dance, we play board games, we rest, we eat. Listen, we focus on our wellness, on our spirituality. They have a session with, in fact, they don't have a session. They demand a session with the social worker, with the camp nurse, with the doctors. We drink water, and I don't want to admit, my friend here, they need their petrol. We drink coffee. You know, we have our breakaway groups. You know, we sit in small groups and then we talk. So in that way, we are already saying these are the mechanisms that you can use when your kids come here and they feel a little bit heavy, they feel a little bit burdened. All right. Like I was saying, as much as we work with them, we are also conscientizing them about some of the psychosocial and economic issues that the campers are coming with. And now they know what to do, they know where to go, and they know who to talk to. I just want to give like an example that it was the September camp. You know, our Bocelli was not fine. She was experiencing survivor guilt because one of her friends died in her presence. And then we talked about it. We talked, I think, for 2 hours. And then I gave an activity and I'm like, just go and do this activity and then come back to me. And then on the third day of training, when they're doing the River of Life, I did not join the session. I intentionally stay away from them because I want them to be free without worrying that maybe I'm looking at them and I might be asking them questions. And then she came to me and then she told me how she felt, you know, when they were doing the River of Life, and that issue of survivor guilt came up, and how she was able to apply some of the things that we were talking about. And she said, you know what, I feel that I am ready. And lo and behold, her camper was suffering the same thing, survivor guilt. And now the Bocelli came to me and said, Bocelli, this is what is happening. We were having a cabin time, and the camper said 1, 2, 3, 4 to me. And then I said, I'm gonna refer you to the social worker. The child was a bit reluctant, and I said to the Bocelli, let the child talk to you. You've already built a trusting relationship. You are now part of her microsystem. You can always come to me for just like, what is it? Just to, yeah, yeah, when you take it, you know, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But I also train them that please do not provide counseling.
Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you, Zoe.
Yes,
Yes.
Zoe?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Have we lost Claire and them?
Yes, I
Is
thought I
that
was the only.
It looks like they're still there, but they're muted. Look, they're still waving.
You're
and
on mute.
Yeah.
network.
No,
Probably.
they're on mute.
We were testing if you were listening.
Oh my gosh.
And then, as I was saying, that as a social worker, as a camp social worker, I need to understand my role so that I don't overstep my mark. Because remember, we work in different communities. This child was from, let me make an example, was from Orange Farm. Then I need to connect her with a social worker that is working in Orange Farm so that they can provide a continuous training sessions. All right. And then in conclusion, you know, they say time flies when you're having fun. I'm having so much fun presenting this. All right. In conclusion, Ditlhare already touched on it. And it's about our intentional and practical programming and activities. The one is the Bocelli Academy, which is our work readiness program. It's more like an exit strategy. I want to go back to what I said. Remember I said when we were restrategizing, repositioning ourselves, we said we only want Bocellis that have grade 10. No, sorry, standard 10. What is standard 10? Yay, metric, grade 12, grade 12. So that I just expose my age.
Oh no, things happened again.
Okay,
That
it
is
is
good.
not just me.
I know, well, that's what you think. You're like, oh gosh, my side, or is it?
Yeah, like it's always okay, it's stuck on me side, so yeah.
Are they able to
It's-
move from where they are?
I'm not sure. Maybe that's what they're trying. Oh, it's the worst if that happens during a presentation. It's never a nice feeling. Let's give them a minute or so, and then we can maybe carry on with some questions, or we can wrap it up. Let's see. I'm sure she'll be back. She'll be back.
Or they're not maybe playing the prank on us again here?
Yes, we're back. I see. Nawonkosi. Nawonkosi said, okay. Hi, Nawo.
Good morning. Oh, afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to add to what Virtually Ditlhare was talking about. So to everyone, I'm also a member of Camp Sizanani Life Skills. And you know, I also think that unburdening a child is important. But what I wanted to add to the topic of unburdening a child and I think has been working very well for us, is that we don't leave the dealing of the cases with the social worker alone. If we have got a case of a child or an issue with a child, or even if it's a vocelli of ours, the leadership will have a discussion about that particular case, and people come up with different suggestions and solutions in how to deal with a case. I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, we have a child at camp who came with medication that is not labeled, and we need to find out, and we need to find out, why is the child having medication that is unlabeled? Do they understand what type of medication and all of that? It's not only the nurse's responsibility or the social worker's responsibility to deal with that. We all sit down as a team and say, okay, now that we have this particular matter, how do we deal with this? So it goes from matters such as that to even some matters that are even more personal. A child, we're going to have a case of a child who doesn't have an ID, or a child who's been bullied. All of us have a chance to say, what is it that we can do to make sure that this child is assisted? Are we supposed to refer the child to somewhere? Do we have different ideas that we can share in terms of how we can give suggestions to the parents or to whoever who's going to be supporting the child? So a huge part of unbedding our children is working on a team to deal with a particular case and not being shy about what the challenge is, not being shy and not stepping on things to say, oh no, this is too personal, maybe we're not gonna handle this. We all have a chance to sit down, say what our view is, what our opinion are, how can we support the child, who knows who can connect us to some form of assistance to make sure that the child is being helped. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bochelina. Thank you so much for that one. And we apologize for the break in transmission. And as I was talking about the Kemsizanani profile that the Bocelli Academy, I expect a Bocelli Academy participant, I expected to to present on. They have to go they do like a thorough research. And then in one of the sessions, they come and they present about Kemsizanani. And the feedback that we get from them, they like, I didn't know so much about Kemsizanani. I'm so glad that I had to be part of this academy so that I understand what is Kemsizanani is all about. I understand what is my role. I understand what are the challenges, because they have to go out and then come up with a list of like some of the challenges that this our campus are experiencing. They have to come up with like possible solutions that they can provide to these children. Hence, we're saying that, you know what, this exit strategy, it is personal and also for professional development, and it covers everyone. Like I said, we don't want to discriminate other people because, because of circumstances that are beyond their control. And then the other activity that they do at camp on the first day, it is called an ectos. All right, whereby they have to build a nest so that their egg there, so I think somebody's running with an egg and everyone is running, trying to source material that will build a nest. So they need to ensure that their egg does not crack when the nest is thrown from the rooftop to the ground. And you should see, when everybody is running in different directions, they fall, they pick themselves up, it's like, and remember, these are the kids that don't know each other. All right, but they learn to work together to protect this egg. They learn to work together to gather resources that can help them to protect this product, which is their egg. And listen, if the egg cracks, oh Lord. But if the eggs survive, you should see the jubilation. and like I was saying, it's like a metaphor for teamwork, for group cohesion, for support, knowing that other people can depend on you and you can also depend on them. And they come up with the most innovative ways of how do you ensure that this egg does not crack. And then remember that our program, we keep like evolving. We try certain things. If it doesn't work, it's okay. We try another one. We tried a word of the day at camp. We're touching on sister or brotherhood, compassion, kindness, respect, tolerance, and trust. And this word of the day, every cabin, because we're at camp for 7 days, every cabin will either get 2 or 3. And then their session if I'm visiting them, and then I will ask them, what happens in an absence of peace? Who's your safe space? Who is this person that gives you peace? Tell me about compassion. What do you understand by compassion? Tell me about tolerance. What happens when you're tolerant to other people? Or what happened when somebody was kind and tolerant towards you? And these children, they start speaking up. Sisterhood, this is my understanding. And the other thing about unburdening the children is teaching them to express themselves in the language that they are comfortable with. Now I'll be saying, speak isiXhosa sakho, it's okay. We will translate, speak your mother tongue or whatever language you're comfortable with. In that way, a child will be able to say, so much, this person has showed me respect. This is what they did. Okay, good stuff. I have shown someone respect and this is what I did. And then I'm going to link this word of the day with a splatter paint and also the river of life. So at a splatter paint, that's when we create a space for them to let everything out. We create scenarios that will evoke those emotions, those things that have been hidden, like they don't want them, they don't want to acknowledge them. They are using those things, the traumas, like they are using negative coping mechanisms, like to deal with them. And when they're at the splatter paint, like we would say, identify a color and link it to an emotion, whether it is negative or it is positive. And then they would say, they are splitting their caps, white caps, and then they will say, black represent my life. I feel so empty. I feel like an empty hole. The other ones will say, I'm using red for all the death and the blood that, others will be saying, I'm using blue because this is the color, the color of the shirt my brother was wearing when he was killed. They get to express themselves during the splatter paint. And we give them an assurance that we cannot take it to a place whereby we won't be able to catch you. Then we go back to the splatter paint. We like those eggs that we're running around with, those are your emotions. So we've already built a platform of trust. So trust us on this one, that we will carry you through. We will find you the resources. So with the splatter paint and with the word of the day, we're giving them a voice. We like, tell us what's bothering you. Tell us what is burdening you so that we can work with you. We can work with your family. We can work with your school. We can work with your community. And the nice thing about it is that it is multidisciplinary. The social workers are there. At the last camp, where the clinical psychologists, the nurses are there, like other virtualists, they just come. And what I've realized is that we give them hugs. And these children don't want to let go. Because most of them, that was the first reassuring touch that they've ever received.
Yeah, end of camp is hard.
And yes.
Yeah.
And that's what makes camp so difficult. At the end of the camp, like on a Friday before Saturday, everybody's crying because they don't want to go back home. They're going back home to the circumstances that initially brought them to camp. And now when we talk to them, we're like, now you know.
You've got the skills.
You've got the skills. Ditlhare is there, Ditlhare is there. And they even like, If I'm not there, they go to Ditlhare and they say, Ditlhare, I need to talk. They go to the Vochelis and say, I need to talk. They now have a safe outlet in terms of how to express themselves appropriately. And the second last one that we introduced is the private sticky notes. It was supposed to be private, and I gave it to them, and I'm like, you're gonna be talking about choices. The choices that you want to pick up or that you want to drop. And who's going to benefit from those choices? And how will those choices that are either picked up or dropped, going to improve their lives? And they're like, no, it's not private. And I'm like, no, it's private. I'm the only one that's going to read. And then because they have built so much brotherhood, solid trust, they build friendship. They're like, these are my brothers. I can share with them what I'm gonna stop drugs. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna focus on this. And I'm like, imagine within 7 days, you have formed lasting relationships whereby you feel so safe and comfortable to share that, you know what, this is how I express my anger. I hit people, I swear, I steal. Imagine if these kids or our campus, they had this opportunity every day in their lives. They've got systems that they can trust. We wouldn't be having issues of children committing suicide, children bullying others, or, there will still be there. Hopefully there will be less. All right. And I think somebody touched on the issue of anti-bullying. This is my last point. As campuses Anani, we are very cognizant about the lasting and deadly impact of bullying. As a result, our clubs, our social media, our camps are bully-free zones. We have anti-bullying pledge, we have anti-bullying statement, and we've recently introduced our anti-bullying code of conduct. And all these policies, we communicate them to the parents. The parents are very much aware. The campus are very much aware. Even some of our stakeholders, it is important that whatever systems and processes we have in place, we communicate them with our stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been a fantastic audience. Thank you so much for engaging. Thank you so much for your questions. I just want us to recap on what we touched on, and then we okay, and then just to recap, like we touched on the significance of environment, two social work theories, the personal environment, ecological perspective, the macro, the meso, exo, macro, and chronosystems. We also touched on the significance of compliance, whether with the council or with the department, programming that must be intentional, humane, and inclusive. We talked about continuous monitoring and evaluation. So I touched on the issues of collaborations and the significance of aligning our programs, like with the legal systems, with policies and legislation. And in conclusion, I touched on intentional and practical programs and activities like the Vocheli Academy, the actors, the word of the day, the splatter paint on the river of life, as the sticky notes moment, as well as the anti-bullying pledge. And we have 3 minutes. Maybe we can take some few hands. Yes, I can answer certain questions. I'm taking questions, inputs. I almost use a common phrase we use here at Camp Zanani, which refers to reflections, but we say Mgena Ndlini is your takeaway. Yes. Zuko?
Hello, my name is Thomas Potela. I'm a forum theatre facilitator at Jigulundu. And I want to say that the work that you're doing is very good, and it's inspirational to hear people also working in the kind of holistic way that we also work in the organization. How I'm involved here is a forum theatre facilitator as I speak. And we try going to the issues of how to use breath work, movement, and voice. So we try to go back to the basics of the formulation of a human being. And we have found that when we make our children to be aware of how their breath patterns change, when they're in traumatic situations, when they're happy, when they're sad, and how they identify these differences themselves, they're able to, in the long run, be able to help themselves. So it's very sustains them in difficult situations. And also how the basics of using voice works when they hear themselves speaking to each other for the first time or in a public environment, that gives them the confidence. But it all goes back to the first hum of doing humming exercises, vocal ranges, and how all of these things are also the trauma that is embedded with each and every vocal range in the body. So for us, the importance of how where we place trauma in the body is also so very important, and how they also use the body as a way to exercise and move through traumas, and in introducing how to move differently, because also difference means that it's something that they haven't explored yet. So it's about imagination. It's about imagining a different community. So it goes back from the breath work into all the way through how things could be different. So we also try as an organization to help for the children themselves to be the vehicle of how they imagine their own lives, breathing through it, humming through it, and it helps them so much, because you could see that the confidence and awareness, to make them aware of their environment, but also to make them aware of their body and how thoughts are built. And this is very important for our organization. And thank you very much, because this also speaks so much to what we're doing. Thank you.
And it's beautiful what you're doing as well. You're connecting the abstract emotions to the body. And that's something that some kids really grapple with. So that's beautiful. Yeah. Do we have another question?
Thank you so much,
Zubenati.
Zubenati. Thank you so much.
Hi guys.
And if I can just say something, that we move a lot in Kemzanani. We dance on Saturday. They dance for a whole 45 minutes. When I said they must stop, I don't think they like me that much. When I said they must stop and go to their different activities, they were sulking, because the children really, really enjoy music, enjoy singing, enjoy dancing. And you know, one of the mothers was complaining to me after camp. Dorothy, I've noted you, was like, Ditlhare, what are you teaching our children at camp? This child is like, when she's doing the dishes, he's singing. When she's making the bed, she's singing. And I'm like, that's what we want. That's what we want. You know, like, we need to make certain things more enjoyable, especially when it comes to chores. You know, we need to make them enjoyable, so that the children don't feel like they are being punished, like I shared earlier. I see Dorothy and Nomfundo.
Thank you very much for everything that we have been discussing. A great opportunity for all of us. I would like to say, if only this could be shared more with teachers. Teachers are spending so much time with the learners, and you know, it's the teacher who spends the whole time. And yes, at home has a great impact in bringing the child. Sorry. Can I go ahead? Yes. So home brings the child to a learning platform, but the teacher doesn't know what to do with the situation, and they take the children back as they are. And non-profit organization, maybe you identify, and I feel like everything that we are doing to the child is like a drop in an ocean. If we can maybe, like this week, if we had more sessions like this, that we can invite teachers, and then give them ideas on how we can deal with the situations that we find that they meet day by day, or maybe have more activities to help the learners day by day, because probably it's the private schools that are looking at that. How about the public schools that have many learners? You'd find yourself with 60 of these, and they all have different challenges. But if you have ideas of how to deal with them, even if there are many, some activities that would make them feel better, it would work. Otherwise, thank you so much. I'm Dorothy from KZN, and I'm running a Maths and Science Center. So what I'm trying to do is to use STEM into getting into learners like this. But unfortunately, it's quite a lot that we need to do, because you lose them at the age of 5, and you find them raw at the age of 10, at the age of 16. So it's quite difficult. So they are growing up with the anger, they are growing up with the challenges, and they are making these people we see, most of the people we see in the community. So yeah, at a science center space, we are trying to find out how we can deal with the psychosocial issues. But like I'm saying, I feel all the time that we are late, because so much has happened when they are younger. And I wish to collaborate with some of the organizations so that we can do more for the little ones, or for a certain age group, up to a certain age group at the science center, since it is a public space. So I wish if we can collaborate and we can do more at a science center space. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Dorothy, thank you so much. You said something there that sometimes we lose them and sometimes it is late. Can I just share with you? It is never late to save a child's life.
Absolutely.
At our previous camp, we had a male camper. I was told at the end of camp that he made other female campers uncomfortable. He was making derogative terms, body shaming them, making inappropriate sexual, and also sexual remarks. Luckily, I had a conversation with him on the very last day of camp. And then we had like a session I had a session with him, and then we had a session with the girls. And then he was very belligerent. I wish I never came here. Very defensive. I wish I never came here. Now people are accusing me. Oh, no. And I'm like, nobody is accusing you. We are here to talk. We are here to have a conversation. What do you know about the situation? And then eventually he was able to to deflate. And it's like, this is what happened. And 2 months later, I bumped into him. And I called him by the name that he was using at camp. And he called me to order. And he's like, Bocelli, please do not use that name anymore. I'm no longer that child. And I'm like, what changed? And because I asked him, and I'm like, you know what, when you go back home, think about it. If somebody had done this to your mother or to your sister, how would you feel? And then he said he reflected on that statement. And he has since changed. He doesn't even want to use that particular nickname. And I'm like, okay. And I apologize for calling him by that name. And I bumped into his mother. And the mother was also one of the parents that were asking me, what do we teach these children at camp? Because his son came back a different person. He was able to sit with the mother. They were able to have tea. They were able to have conversations. And Anna said it is because we make him aware of his environment and how is he contributing to the environment. So Dorothy, trust me, we are never too late. And just quickly to touch on how do we help teachers It's a pity that we don't have social workers in every school, but in an instance whereby you do have social workers, student social workers, we work with a school-based support team. And I will encourage everyone here that is working in school settings, do work with the school-based support team. Last week I had a meeting with the school nurse. You know, I had a meeting with the police. They call them like adopt a cop. There are many systems within the schools that are there to make our work a little bit easy. And the other thing is that let the school know, let the life orientation teacher know about your existence. We should not work in silos.